was 2157. Earth was no longer what people had read about in old books. The sky was crimson red, the air carried a faint scent of radiation, and humans now survived only in underground bunkers. But our story begins somewhere else, somewhere no human dared to venture. The Forbidden Zone, the Desert of Death. Dr. Zayn Malik, a quantum archaeologist, had set out with his team on a secret mission. The government had sent them for Project Timeless. Rumors claimed that ancient civilization traces existed in this desert, but those who came here never returned. Zayn's heart pounded as their hovercraft landed in the middle of the desert. Scanner readings showed something strange. Below ground, there was a structure, metallic, advanced. But the readings indicated this structure was 50,000 years old. "Sir, this isn't even possible, Maya," Zayn's assistant said. "That long ago, humans lived in caves." Zayn just smiled and replied, "Exactly. That's why we're here." When they began excavating, within hours they found it, a pyramid. But this wasn't like the Egyptian pyramids. It was made of pure black obsidian, and strange symbols glowed on its surface. Symbols that matched no known language. Entering inside, they saw a hall, so massive that its end wasn't even visible. And in the center, a platform. On the platform, 3 swords. Each sword was different metal, different color. The first sword gleamed like gold, the second like silver, and the third was black. So black it seemed to swallow light itself. And between these 3 swords lay a body. But this wasn't an ordinary corpse. It was preserved, in perfect condition. A man around 30 years old. His face held a strange peace, as if he were sleeping. His hands rested on his chest, and between his fingers hung a crystal cube. Maya said nervously, "Sir, this person, he's still like..." "Living tissue," Zayn said, checking his scanner. "Maya, this body isn't dead. It's in suspended animation." Suddenly, the lights in the hall blinked. Symbols on the walls began glowing. And then, a voice, deep, ancient, but understandable. "You have awakened me. Now you must choose one of the 3. The team froze. There was no source for the voice. It seemed to come from everywhere. Zayn gathered courage and asked, "Who are you?" "I am Azar, the first and last timekeeper. 50,000 years before your world, humanity was a different civilization. We understood time. We controlled it. But power destroyed us. Screens projected on the hall's walls, scenes from an ancient world, flying cities, technology thousands of years ahead of today's world, and then destruction, war, annihilation worse than nuclear holocaust. We realized our mistake, but it was too late. I, the last timekeeper, came here. I sealed myself, and left behind 3 swords, 3 paths. The first sword, the sword of return. If someone lifted it, they could take time backward, reset everything, restore Earth to its former glory. The second sword, the sword of progress. This sword granted unlimited knowledge, science, technology, cure for every disease. Humanity would enter a new era. The third sword, the sword of end. This sword ended everything. Clean slate. The universe would reset. But remember, Azar's voice thundered, every choice has consequences. Every sword has a price, and only one person can lift it. Panic spread through Zayn's team. "Why us? We're just archaeologists," Maya shouted. "Because your civilization now stands at the same crossroads where ours stood. You have only 100 years left. After that, nothing will remain. This choice is necessary." Thousands of thoughts raced through Zayn's mind. The first sword could bring back his son, who had died from radiation poisoning. He could give his wife Aisha the happiness she had lost. The second sword could save humanity, cure for every disease, clean energy, a perfect world. But the third sword, Maya grabbed Zayn's hand. "Sir, the first sword. We can go back. We can fix everything." But Zane remembered history. Every civilization that sought power was destroyed. Every time travel story where someone changed the past, the consequences were always worse. He stepped forward, reached toward the first sword, then stopped. He looked at the second sword. Unlimited knowledge, every scientist's dream. Then his gaze fell on the third sword, the sword of end, and in that moment he understood. He moved forward and left all three swords untouched. Instead, he went straight to Azar's body. He lifted the crystal cube from Azar's hands. An earthquake-like tremor shook the hall. The walls began to crack. "What have you done?" Azar's voice held emotion for the first time. "Shock. I chose nothing," Zane said. "You asked the wrong question. The choice itself was wrong. Your civilization ended because you thought you were God, that you could decide how time should flow." The crystal cube began glowing in Zane's hand. "But this cube, this is your consciousness," Zane said. "You sealed yourself. You were waiting for our civilization that would make a different choice than yours, that would refuse power." Suddenly, Azar's body moved. He was rising. After 50,000 years, his eyes opened. He looked at Zane, and for the first time in 50,000 years, he smiled. "You understood," Azar said, his voice now sounding like a normal human. "This was a test. If you had lifted any sword, your civilization would have been destroyed like mine. But you rejected power, because power isn't the solution," Zane said. "Choice is, struggle is. Humanity's real strength isn't controlling time, it's learning from mistakes." Azar extended his hand. The crystal cube returned to his chest. He was complete. "My task is now finished. I was waiting for that one person who would understand this. You've given me liberation." Azar's body began to shimmer. He was fading. "But what about your world?" Maya asked. "We're still going to end in 100 years. Azar smiled and said, "No. By passing this test, your consciousness has evolved. Your civilization has now received the knowledge it needed." And suddenly, in Zane's mind and everyone's mind came clarity, solutions, ideas, things they couldn't see before. "How is this possible?" Zane asked. "Because you didn't ask for power, you asked for understanding. And that is true power." Azar completely disappeared. The three swords vanished too. Only a message remained on the walls. Civilizations survive when they value wisdom over power. When the team emerged, they saw their world changing. People were understanding. Wars were ending. Solutions were being found. Because one person had made the right choice. And Zane? He went home. To his wife Aisha. He held her hand. "I couldn't bring our son back," he said, "but I can ensure no other mother has to lose her child." Aisha said with tears in her eyes, "You did the right thing, because sometimes the greatest power is the power to reject power, and this story doesn't end here, it begins. Because Zane's choice showed all of humanity a new path. 50,000 years ago, a civilization was destroyed because they put power above all. Today, a civilization was saved because one person chose wisdom. There were three swords, one body, and one person who changed everything. The secret that was ahead of time was this: true progress lies not in power, but in the courage to refuse it.